And now a CBS 21 News exclusive. Every day we work to bring you the news, but it takes on a whole different meaning when one of us becomes the news.
That's right. Last September, our very own Chris Pax was severely injured by a 130-pound bull mastiff that bit him in the face. And tonight he's sharing his story.
And he's sharing the story of a little boy who was attacked by a dog. He and his mother spoke exclusively with Chris.
Chris is in the studio here with more. Chris.
Well, Rob and Tanya, with 83 million dogs living in American homes, we are truly a dog nation. Now, for the vast majority of us, they are part of the family and provide nothing but unconditional love. But sometimes things do go wrong, and when it does, the results, can be terrifying. So I decided to share my experience in the hopes that it may somehow be able to help.
This is where the dog's canine tooth went into my face and then ripped down through my lip.
On a quiet September afternoon.
And his other teeth went in here.
In this neighborhood, in this yard.
These are just puncture wounds, but this one did do a little bit of tearing.
My life changed. As a reporter, I can't count the number of times that I interviewed someone who said, "I can't believe this happened to me." And now I find myself saying the same thing. I was sitting on my neighbor's deck with our 3 dogs. Her neighbor was in his backyard. Meanwhile, 3 houses up, a 130-pound bull mastiff, similar to this one, was on its property and about to get loose.
I'm still shaking talking about it.
When the dog escaped from its owner, took off down the street and sprinted up this driveway, ramming its head into this metal fence. My dog ran over to confront it, so I jumped off the deck to pull him away. But then the giant 2-year-old began to bend the metal bars and force his way in.
When he pulled through, I couldn't believe it.
It just started attacking, and there was nothing else that I could do except try to stop it.
By that time I got over, Chris was on top of the dog.
The thing was fighting the entire time.
A fraction of a second, the dog turned around and bit him in the face.
These are the first pictures taken after I was cleaned up at the hospital. 2 days and 25 stitches later, this was me with a swollen and scarred face. Unfortunately, what happened to me is not rare. According to the American Humane Association, every year, about 5% of dogs bite someone. 800,000 of those bites require medical care. 90% of the dogs, like the one that bit me, are non-neutered males. But the worst statistic of all is that 80% of the victims,
the dog went after me and then jumped on me,
are children.
It's a parent's worst nightmare.
Carlos Vasquez is your typical 7-year-old boy who loves to play in the alley behind his Steelton home, which is lined with dogs. In late August, as he pedaled away on his tricycle, one broke through its fence and attacked him. A nearby adult tried to pull the dog off him as his mom came running.
The vision of me getting there, of him screaming, "Mommy, please don't let me die," seeing the blood, I just keep visualizing it over and over in my head.
During our interview,
I was trying to get it off, and then it started biting me.
Carlos remained strong while talking about the dog, even as the outline of its jaws could still be seen in his leg. But then, while recalling the attack, the young boy broke down, left, and never came back. A room where his nightmares take over.
The more quiet it is, the louder his screams get.
It's also in his room where he recorded this plea for help.
Not okay.
There isn't any one reason for why dogs bite, whether triggered by a loud noise or sudden movement. The American Kennel Club's best advice to avoid an attack is to simply respect a dog's space and pay attention to what it's telling you. Essentially, if it's barking or looks upset, stay away. But there are times when attacks cannot be avoided. And when they do happen, victims are rarely limited to just those who get stitches or have nightmares.
When it's your baby, it's worse for the parents. If only I had been there to jump in the dog, to let the dog attack me over him. That's what hurts me the most.
Just leaves you with chills. How's little Carlos doing?
Well, since we shot this story, I have been in contact often with his mother. The entire family has sought help, and he is doing much better now. But we do want to make the point that 95% of dogs are never going to hurt anyone. We're just trying to show what can happen. It happened to Carlos, it happened to me, and it's terrifying.
Yeah, you can see by the reaction from Carlos, so it's good to know he's getting the help he needs. What happens to the 2 dogs featured in your story?
So when a dog does bite someone, by law, they have to be quarantined for 10 days to see if rabies symptoms do appear. The dog that bit me was put down. The dog that bit Carlos was not. It's a decision that is completely up to the owner. And it's a situation where nobody wins. Everybody loses.
The vision of me getting there, of him screaming, you know, Mommy, please don't let me die. You know, seeing the blood, I just keep visualizing it over and over in my head.
Frightening words from a terrified mother after her young son was attacked by a dog. That's where we begin this half hour. Good evening, I'm Tanya Foster.
And I'm Rob Hanrahan. Friday, we shared the emotional story of 7-year-old Carlos Vasquez and our very own Chris Papps, both recently attacked by dogs.
And as much joy as dogs bring into our lives, tonight we continue to look at what happens when things go wrong.
And we got to warn you, this story does contain some graphic images. CBS 21's Chris Papps is here now with the story. Chris?
Well, Rob, for tens of millions of Americans, dogs are our best friends. They love us, they protect us, they keep us company. But every year, millions of us are attacked by them, and for hundreds of thousands, the result is severe and can last for life. Now, during this investigation, we found out dog bites don't just impact victims, but every taxpayer millions of times over. And again, we do have a viewer warning. The images you are about to see are graphic. These are the pictures rarely seen in the media. They're hard to look at, but they show the real impact of dog attacks. Every year, 4.5 million Americans become victims. Victims like me and 7-year-old Carlos Vasquez of Steelton.
Couple scars on my knuckles. I've been bitten on the face too.
Sandy Garrison has also been a victim. As a dog groomer, she's been bitten 6 times and involved in 3 dog fights.
When the dog is out of control and attacking, it's all over. You're not going to fix it.
Boys!
Ruth Goodling has 45 years of experience training champion canines. Both women agree the best way to stop a dog attack is before it starts, with good breeding and responsible ownership. But if that doesn't work, a quick web search will offer many suggestions to prevent a dog attack, such as avoid direct eye contact and stay calm.
They sense your fear.
And use an umbrella or stick to keep the animal at a distance. All techniques where Garrison and Goodling agree.
I really think the umbrella idea is a very good one.
But that is where their agreement with these suggestions end, because a number of websites also offer solutions to stop an attacking dog, such as grabbing its testicles, since 90% of dogs that bite are non-neutered males.
I would not ever do that.
Other sites suggest picking up his hind legs to take away its power base.
He could still turn around and probably is going to bite your hands.
Or trying to punch the dog in the snout.
I'm not putting my hands near his snout because that's where he keeps his teeth. People have a lot of ideas, but they don't make sense because a dog that's attacking is crazed.
It's just a fight.
It is a fight.
A fight that has become more common in America. While the overwhelming majority of dogs never hurt anyone, a small percentage does create significant problems. Since 1986, the number and severity of dog bites has drastically increased. Fatal attacks are up 82% over the last 30 years.
People think of their dogs as little children in fur coats, and they're not. The dog is always a lethal weapon, and people don't realize it.
Every day I am contacted by people who've been attacked by unrestrained dogs.
Dog bite attorney Thomas Newell realizes it. He has spent the last 33 years representing dog bite victims like these.
This problem is literally an epidemic.
An epidemic that changes a victim's life while costing taxpayers millions. Newell says half of his calls involve dogs that are owned by uninsured renters. And the majority of victims, children and the elderly, are on government-subsidized health care, meaning taxpayers are stuck with the hospital bills. CBS 21 analyzed government numbers and found from 2009 to 2013, dog bites have have cost state taxpayers nearly $43 million in medical costs. Yet in PA, only after a dog attacks someone does the state require the owner to get $50,000 in liability insurance. But by then, it's too late. The taxpayer can't get reimbursed, and the victim oftentimes cannot get cosmetic care because plastic surgeons rarely take public health insurance.
And the victim becomes victimized again.
Correct.
Liability insurance to cover dog bites is not expensive. CBS 21 got a quote from State Farm for a $100,000 policy in Harrisburg. It's 36 cents a day for a renter.
We, the taxpayers, are literally paying millions of dollars a year so that uninsured renters could own vicious dogs and have no fiscal accountability.
CBS 21 contacted the Department of Agriculture, which administers dog law, to discuss this topic. Instead, we got a statement. Quote, the Department of Agriculture takes seriously every incident where an innocent person is attacked by a dog without provocation.
Like anything else in life, it's repetitive. It's only going to get worse unless action is taken by, in my opinion, the government officials.
Now, most states do allow laws that mandate that certain dog breed owners do carry liability to protect those potential victims, but Pennsylvania law forbids what is known as breed-specific legislation, so victims here are not protected.
And you also mentioned in the first part of your story, if a dog does bite, the state doesn't require it to be put down either.
No, is something that is up to the owner. Now, if they do choose to keep a dog that has bit or attacked someone, then there are pretty onerous regulations that the state imposes on that owner. So most people do choose to put the dog down, but they absolutely do not have to.
And little Carlos, he's doing okay.
Yeah, he's doing much better. I spoke to his mom. She watched the story on Friday, and she wrote some very nice things on our Facebook page about Carlos and how he's doing. They're doing much better, and it looks like he's going to be okay.
Brave little boy and mom to get the word out on this.
Absolutely.
And you too, Chris.
Yeah, great digging on the financial end of that.
Thank you.